Cheers, BR. The iconic phrase is how Professor Brian Richardson signed almost every email. But when he retires at the end of the school year, his signature phrase won't be the only thing that's missed. A graduate of Washington and Lee class of 1973, Richardson received his BA in journalism. He started as a TV reporter and moved to newspapers including the Tallahassee Democrat and the Miami Herald. Eventually, he earned a master's degree and PhD and returned to W&L, where he spent the last quarter century teaching generations of journalists, including all of us. New and old colleagues, as well as students alike, all recall the impact Richardson has left on them, as well as his journalistic integrity and involvement in the department.
I seriously contemplated leaving because it didn't seem like, this was going to work out for me. But one of the reasons I stayed was actually partly because of him. He was always compassionate in his dealings with me. He was always, sensitive and caring. And that kind of, he didn't make up for the fact that my husband was somewhere else, but at least it made me feel like I was among people that cared.
There are some faculty members, not in journalism anymore, but some who were vindictive. And Brian's not that way. He was a student here. He knew what it was like to be a student here. And he consequently, by doing what he does, he's a student's teacher.
I think that Professor Richardson has been such a fixture for so long that even if he is gone physically, I think he will continue to reside mentally and spiritually in a way that helps our department continue to do the kind of work that he has always striven to do, which is first-rate and excellent.
His legacy is not just with his colleagues, his professor colleagues. I mean, it's also with the students, and he is a fierce supporter of the free press, not just for grown-ups who are working for news organizations, but also for students. And there have been many occasions when he has really supported student journalists at Washington and Lee when it wasn't necessarily an easy thing to do.
I've always gone to him with any sort of problem I'm having, any sort of question I have, and I think just recently when he really went to bat for the students here with the judge in town who wouldn't release the statement for Nick Hansel's plea bargain, I think that just shows how much Professor Richardson believes in what he teaches and believes in his students and what they deserve and the rights they have.
BR taught my Journalism 101 class, so he was one of the very first journalism professors that I had here, and I really just sort of fell in love with journalism after taking that class. And I think what impressed me about him the most was that sort of from the very beginning he took us really seriously as journalism students. And I think that's probably the most valuable thing that you can give someone that wants to go into a career that's so criticism-based, is really believing in them and letting them know sort of from the beginning as an 18-year-old freshman that you are a journalist from sort of that until when you graduate. And I think that instilled in me a lot of positive, sort of hope in myself and what I could do in my career.
I would say one of my favorite things about BR is that at the beginning of every single class, he would say, "phasers on stun," and none of us really knew how to respond at first, and then it kind of just became a ritual, which is so telling of him, that he makes everything into a funny little repetitive ritual kind of thing.
He's definitely like one of the traditional older generation of news people where they have those older standards, and I know that journalism is kind of moving into a new direction with focus on online and social media, and that kind of leaves for more traps to kind of fall short of upholding kind of the highest standards in facts, writing, and everything like that. And I think that what he has left in this department and with his students is that those standards still apply today, and we need to make sure that those values are continued to follow through the department.
In the end, it's sad to see a beloved professor go, but we can all learn to appreciate what he's taught and how he holds a special place in our lives. So from all of us, cheers, BR. Have a wonderful retirement. For the Rockbridge Report, I'm Frank Diaz.